Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the JioGenNext Basecamp Demo Day, May 2020. My name is Madan, Research Director of Your Story, and I'll be your host today. Today marks the launch of yet another batch of high potential startups who have been handpicked and nurtured by JioGenNext. For those of you who are not aware, JioGenNext is the startup engagement program of Reliance. Over the last 5 years, they've engaged with over 140 startups across various stages with business and technical mentorship. This helps them engage with the different businesses of the Reliance Group. Today, we have 5 exceptional startups who have gone through this deep mentoring program with JioGenNext. Today, they will showcase their progress, seek investments, and commercial engagement opportunities with you in the audience through this unique, first of its kind online event. These 5 startups will be pitching in real time to all stakeholders online. First of all, to kick off this program, let me invite Amay Mashelkar, head of JioGenNext, to give us his inaugural address. He will be sharing with us his insights on what makes a startup investable, how should startups address the current crisis, and why this online pitch today is so special. Over to you, Amay.
Thanks, Madan. It's really wonderful to see the kind of draw that the JioGenNext Demo Day has had. We've already crossed 700 attendees for the program, so that's very encouraging. Normally, we have our demo day in our campus in Reliance Corporate Park campus in Navi Mumbai, but this time we decided to have it online because we can sort of bring in more people together and make it more engaging. So happy to see many of you that we normally get to see even at our physical events. I'd just like to sort of quickly acknowledge the efforts that the JioGenNext team has put together in sort of identifying all the companies that came into this program, as well as sort of handholding them throughout the entire process of the mentoring. Starting with George, who heads our alliances, Anirudh, who heads sort of our evaluation of technology and strategic investments, Subharshi and Divya, who are startup analysts and also help with program management, Vinaya, who helps us with operations, Naveen, who's the program manager, and Siddharth, who looks at financial sort of evaluation. Most importantly, as these startups came into the program, from a Reliance point of view, Mr. Ashwin Khasgiwala, who's the CFO of Reliance Retail, Mr. Bablu Tiwari from the supply chain team, Mr. Neeraj Ambani, and several other Reliance mentors who spent countless hours with all these startups in sort of understanding their use cases and giving them sort of the right platform to test out their products. So very thankful to all of them. Just coming to the startups, these are incredible, a bunch of startups. They're working across areas such as supply chain, where they're looking at building in efficiencies in essential as well as non-essential services, fairly contextual to the current environment. If you look at sort of the AR company Geometry, they're looking at immersive training. So today, one needs a viable alternative to sort of training in person, and that's where immersive online using AR kind of will be the mainstream. And of course, looking at the economy and sort of micro businesses and ensuring that they are cash flow positive and their operations continue to run smoothly. We have a startup that's looking at ensuring that they collect their payments on time and they continue to run their operations smoothly. So all these companies are focused on very contextual things to today's environment. With that, I'd like to quickly introduce a pre-recorded video of our managing director, Mr. Sanjay Mashwala. He's been a fantastic mentor and sponsor of the program. He will actually articulate in very simple terms what is it that we bring to the table as Reliance that is so powerful and so meaningful for these companies. So over to you, Madan, to introduce Mr. Sanjay Mashwala's video.
Thanks so much, Amay. We just heard from Amay Mashilkar, head of the JioGenNext program. As you heard from him, this pitch is normally done on premise in their office, but due to the special circumstances, we are bringing you these pitches online. He gave a very impressive list of all the companies from the Reliance Group who are supporting these startups and brief profiles of some of these startups. We'll come to the startups in full pitches after this. But first, let me introduce now our next speaker who's going to give us a video address. Mr. Sanjay Mashruwala is the managing director of Reliance Jio Infocom, and he'll be sharing with us what it is it like for startups to begin this journey, where do the startups need mentoring, and how is the Reliance and Jio ecosystems supporting the growth of these startups. So let's now have this video from Mr. Sanjay Mashruwala.
So we have been interacting with a number of these startups who have a lot of ideas, lot of skills, and lot of enthusiasm to come up with something leveraging the new digital age. Most of them have good ideas, but they definitely require more mentoring in terms of business, in terms of commercial sense, as well as in areas of marketing and how to be successful. And these interactions that we have had and we have been continuing always helps them in sort of getting a better perspective of how to succeed. And when they come, we also try to have them interact with the rest of the Reliance team to see, partly to gain from their experience and their knowledge, also to understand how the ideas and the services or products that they are developing can be utilized in the real world, and wherever possible integrated with the variety of Reliance activities, so that they can get a kickstart of their activities and their businesses, after which they can hopefully proceed on their own and be successful.
Thanks so much. That was Mr. Sanjay Mashruwala, Managing Director of Reliance Jio Infocom. And as you saw in his video address, which was made at the beginning of the mentorship program, startups have three very important assets. They have ideas, skill, and enthusiasm. But where they need mentoring, and which is where JioGenNext comes into the picture, mentoring helps them operate at scale and market to the industry. Now we come to the most exciting part, which you're all waiting for, which is the demo day. We have 5 startups who are going to pitch to us. They are QSense, eShips, SpiderG, AirChain, and Gmetry. As part of this mentorship program by JioGenNext, they've already finished 6 weeks of full-time mentoring and coaching to help their businesses get the ground up and intensive business. Let's now get to hear these startups and see which ones to look out for in the future. Here's how it's going to work. Each startup will get to pitch for about 5 to 7 minutes. You will also notice in your chat screen that you can type in some questions for the audience and for these startups. So one of my colleagues will pick some questions from these chat windows and pose 1 or 2 questions for the startups depending on time. So we're going to get right into these startup pitches immediately. First up, as mentioned, we have QSense. We have speaking to us now, Rubal Chip, the CEO and co-founder of QSense. QSense offers analysis of fruits using non-invasive testing for optimizing procurement in organized retail. Over to you, Rubal.
So we are QSense. We are transforming fresh food supply chain with data. I am Rubal Chip. I'm the CEO of the company. And the problem that we are addressing is of highly inefficient supply chain of fresh food, which leads to huge inventory loss as well as overall mismanagement throughout the supply chain, leading to billions of dollars lost in the country. So, but what leads to this inefficiency? So the basic decision of when to sell what, this decision is based on human intuition regarding the health of the commodities, and hence highly uncertain output is the result, which leads to total mismanagement throughout the supply chain of fresh food. We are offering an end-to-end IoT solution for this problem using state-of-the-art technology and enabling the retailers and aggregators to manage their fresh food effectively. So talking about the technology, our solution is a unique combination of near-infrared spectroscopy and artificial olfaction, which is the sense of smell. Our handheld scanner scans the fresh food and helps in grading correctly the commodities And during storage, there is real-time logger based on olfaction, which gives you real-time alerts about the health of the inventory. We have filed one patent, and all the hardware is designed in-house. So this is the kind of dashboard which is available to the QC managers, where they can know the parameters like Brix, which is the sugar content, as well as spoilage levels, as well as in the storage, ethylene, carbon dioxide, and oxygen levels to manage their inventory effectively, as well as getting more insights on the shelf life of the food commodities. Our solution is totally compatible with the current process of the retailers, and has is able to deploy very seamlessly in the current process. So the target market. So our total addressable market globally is around $50 billion, but our target is Indian fresh food supply chain, which is $2.5 billion target market for us. We know India is the second largest producer of fruits and vegetables in the world, and also third largest fresh food retail, having around $500 billion in sales annually. So this gives us a huge market to capture, as well as our business model is based on subscription, where we are charging rupees 10,000 per device along with the dashboard. Our aim is to capture an ARR of around $5 million by the end of December 2022 by deploying 5,000 devices across the country. Talking about the team, so I am the IoT expert in the company. I bring 8 years of experience in building IoT products. I was working with Havells in the development of smart home range there, and have extensive experience in building hardware products in India as well as in China. While Shrishti brings her deep expertise in applying machine learning models to biological data, specifically in the application of agriculture. She has done her PhD from Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, and she has done research across the globe in some of the leading universities. Our journey so far has been very high-paced. We registered our company in 2019 May, and we, as a part of pre-seed, we also got selected for world's leading hardware accelerator hacks. We spent a couple of months in China they helped us in rapid prototyping as well as selection of sensors. We came back to India and we developed the hardware here. And by December, we had developed our first hardware as well as filed our first patent. In January, we came to JioGenNext, and here we got mentored by the Reliance team. And in February, we got confirmation on our POC with Reliance Retail, as well as we are planning deployment with Amazon Fresh as well as we. So during JioGenNext, we got extensively mentored by the senior leadership team and got feedback on our product, especially the dashboard. We improved it, and now we are planning our POC in Hoskote, Bangalore. So we are raising 800K as seed investment, and we require this to scale our sales and R&D team. Our aim is to deploy 5,000 devices by the end of 2022. And to do that, we need to scale our team as well as working capital to develop the devices. Our current investors are SOSV Ventures as well as Entrepreneur First, with whom we raised 255K pre-seed investment. So yeah, we are currently seeing a trend of global giants like Amazon, Walmart entering the Indian ecosystem, as well as big giants here like Reliance trying to make the supply chain more efficient. So this is the right time to deploy such a technology to solve this inefficiency. As well as in the COVID times, we are seeing a faster adoption of such fresh food deliveries, which helps us in ensuring the quality with such a technology. At QZense, we want to be the part of this transformation, and we look forward to hearing from you. Please contact us, and if you want, we would love to discuss our product and demonstrate the hardware as well. Please write to us. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Rubal. We just heard from Rubal of QSense. Rubal, you've got a couple of questions. The first one is, how does your solution ensure accuracy in testing of the fruits?
Right. So yeah, because visual examination is a bit limited, our technology senses the internal data like water content, sugar content, as well as the biochemical processes those are inside. We are getting a more deeper insights of the food, and we are comparing our results with lab tests and achieving a accuracy of 95% in comparison.
Okay, we have time to squeeze in just one more question. I can see lots of questions coming, but because of time, we can just take one more. And that question is, how do you help small, unorganized retailers? It sounds like you can easily help the bigger and the medium-sized companies, but what about the small guys? How do you help them?
So small, I think one enabler is somebody like Reliance Newcomers, which is bringing the smaller unorganized players to the platform. Our technology can help such small retailers in ensuring the quality of food they are delivering via online platform. So there it makes a lot of sense, and which we are exploring with companies like Big Basket as well.
Great. Thanks so much, Rubal. You all been listening to Rubal of QSense. QSense offers analysis of fruits using non-invasive testing for optimizing procurement in organized retail. Thanks, Rubal. Up next, we have another interesting startup called eShips, and joining us is Shashi Tripathi, co-founder of eShips. eShips is a SaaS-based solution to reduce the cost of first-mile logistics for brands and retail companies. Shashi, the stage is all yours.
Thank you, Madan. COVID and post-COVID, companies are looking to reduce the cost of operations, logistics cost, and improve their work efficiency. I'm Shashi Tripathi from eShips. eShips is a dispatch management software solution for the medium and large enterprises, helping them to digitize their supply chain data, view, manage, and track their shipments on a real-time basis on a single platform. With direct integrations with ERP and other system technologies, and market channels, they can easily have a clear visibility of the parcels and reduce the order processing time by 80% and logistics cost up to 15%. So let's take an example of a company like Hafele, German-based company, operational in India, who is into kitchen and door fittings and hardware products. They are into online and offline mode of sales. So they have orders coming from online channels and offline channels also. Companies like Hafele have this problem of managing orders from multiple sources, and it's a very manual process and time consuming. Companies face this problem of tracking these parcels through multiple carriers and managing these shipments at what status the parcel is currently. We have understood from the e-commerce side of the business that they face a lot of high e-commerce returns. We are trying to solve this problem through our solutions. So we have pre-integrated solutions with market channels and carriers. We provide a simple dashboard facility where they can have a clear visibility of all the parcels traveling through all the carriers. Our NDR management tool will help them to understand why the parcel was not delivered at certain given point of time. Can they action it on it so that tomorrow the delivery can happen? If the customer has refused the shipment, we help businesses to manage the returns on a single platform. We suggest companies based on our data points that these areas of India are better performing in terms of COD deliveries or prepaid deliveries. These carriers are doing better than others so that they can take actions on it. We have also seen that the companies have seasonality in sales. So at certain point of time, we have seen that they have very high sales at the end of the month or Diwali season or so. At that point of time, they need to recruit a lot of manpower to manage this. Through our bulk order management tool, they can do it without having any additional manpower. This is how the enterprise dashboard will look. Companies can easily view what the parcels at any given point of time, how many shipments are delivered on time versus delayed deliveries, how much time they are spending on each shipment, what is the payment which they are spending on each of the parcels, what is the amount to be received as a COD, percentage of returns also they can easily understand. This is how our mobile application looks. So people can easily scan the invoices and generate a tracking label on the go, even in the warehouse or while delivering the parcels. In terms of market size, we have understood that the industry is approximately $215 billion, growing at 10.2% year on year, of which technological expenditure is around 3 to 5%. So we are trying to address a market size of approximately 2.4 billion by 2022. With a focus of 100,000 sellers, and each sellers will be having at least 2 to 3 users or warehouses to manage. In terms of business model, we are pure SaaS-based model. That model depends on the size of the company. We have different plans operating at a gross margin of approximately 75%. In terms of go-to-market, we are having partnership with the carriers like FedEx, Blue Dart, and a couple of more companies. We are trying to have an association with the warehouse management companies like Unicommerce, Brown-Teb, Venaculum, where we can have an access to the larger enterprises. We also have integrations of the marketplace channels so that we can have an access to the e-commerce sellers also. One very interesting thing to share is here is pickup agents. So we have developed a mobile application for the Blue Dart pickup agents. By that, they are able to reduce the time of order processing up to 50%. So they are able to return home faster. So now they are recommending to the other peer agents. So that's also a way of reaching out to a larger audience. In terms of growth, we did our beta version launch in April. Commercial launch actually happened in November. And we got our first contract with Blue Dart in December. And just in 5 months of our commercial launch, we are able to capture 104 enterprises with 300,000 transactions a month. We have POC going on with the Blue Dart for the rollout of mobile applications in complete Southern India and Western region. Currently, we have gotten a success rollout of 63 agents. We also have a proposed POC with Reliance where the consolidation of order will be happening through multiple business verticals of Reliance and then processed through a single Reliance logistics arm. So in our 5 months of journey, we have been able to do a revenue of approximately $14,000. To name a few customers, we have Blue Dart, Fossil, Inamar, Hafele, and Solve, which is an e-commerce arm of Standard Chartered Bank. In terms of team, I take care of sales and operations, 7 years of experience into logistics. And I have, prior to this, I have worked in Kerry and Arshia. Shivadeep is another co-founder. He takes care of strategic partnership and alliances. And he's ex-DHL, currently working on partnership with the DHL and FedEx MESA group, that is Middle East nations. Ajay is tech co-founder. He has an experience from the companies in the product development of Dell EMC, OpenText, Yahoo. Total team size, we are currently 5 developers and 3 marketing. We were also part of the accelerator programs of JioGenNext and Accelerator. In terms of fund ask, we are looking to raise around $400,000. Most of these funds will be going for the product development and sales and marketing. Also, we have something as a global launch beta version, which we are planning to do somewhere around October of 2020. We got our first seed investment from Accelerator Venture at the very ideation stage before the commercial launch. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to anyone who is interested to revolutionize the logistics industry in terms of logistics automation and warehouse. Happy to connect with all.
Thank you so much, Shashi. We are hearing from Shashi of eShips. And Shashi, there's a couple of questions for you. Maybe the first one is a bit of a clarification question. Do you also provide hardware to the companies, or you're just providing the software part of the solution?
We do have hardware, that is mobile application, and the Bluetooth for the launch, that label generations and all, so that the pickup staff or the warehouse executives who are roaming around the warehouses, they can generate this label. It's a mix of software and hardware devices of Bluetooth, which is mixed together as a SaaS product.
Okay, good. There's one more question we can squeeze in, and that is, what is your differentiating factor? Are there other companies like FedEx, etc., who are doing something similar? How do you differentiate or complement their offerings?
Very interesting question, actually. So what we have identified that the companies who are extremely large, they have everything ready till ERP, till invoicing. After that, if they are working with 5-6 different carriers, either they have to integrate all of the carriers one by one, or they need to have a separate team to manage all of this. So since we have already pre-integrated, it is very easy for the companies to start immediately. They don't need to have a lag of 6 months or so to start the shipment. They can start it immediately on a single platform, all the access, not even 5, they can have 50 carriers access also at a certain given point of time.
Very good. Thanks, Shashi. We just heard from Shashi Tripathi, co-founder of eShips, which is a SaaS solution to reduce the cost of first mile logistics for brands and retail companies. Up next, we have the founder of another interesting startup, SpiderG. SpiderG is a bookkeeping and payment platform which enables micro merchants to collect regular payments on time. And making this pitch is the co-founder and CEO of SpiderG, Mr. Ashwani Kumar Singh Rathod. Ashwani, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Madan. Hi, everyone. This is Ashwani Rathod, founder CEO of SpiderG. Spidergy is a payment collection application for micro businesses. Micro businesses which provide some kind of a subscription services to their customers, and they collect same amount of money from their customers. We encounter these businesses every day in our life, like for example, cable operators, milk vendor, paying guest hostel, coaching center, local fitness centers like Zumba classes, yoga classes, school bus operator. So they have a problem of collection because they have large number of customers and they collect money through various applications. These consumer payment applications like Paytm, Google Pay, Phone Pay. And since these applications have been designed for consumer, they're not been designed for micro businesses. They end up having a reconciliation problem, tracking defaulter. And what happens is every month they end up being in the same problem that collection is a major issue and 20% of their capital gets stuck in that process. How do we solve this problem? We are using combination of three solutions to solve this problem. First is we automate sending recurring invoices with a payment link to their customers. And we also incorporate cash and disputes in their payment cycle because this is a major part. Cash cannot be eliminated altogether. So we incorporate that in process. And also we allow them to link their existing bank account with Spidergy so that it can automate their entire bookkeeping. So invoices are sent on SMS and email with a payment link. The customers can click on that payment link and they will have three options: pay now, pay by cash, and raise dispute. So once they click on pay now, they will get to choose various payment method and the receipts are delivered automatically to their customers. And ledgers are automatically updated because every invoice is with a unique ID. Once it is get paid, it gets update the ledgers. And if the customer is not paying on time, we will send the automatic reminders to their customer. These reminders are smart reminders. We will not budge a customer who's paying regularly. And micro merchant can also track what is the communication happening from Spidergy side to their end customer in the real time, and they can see various ledgers which is being floated for their customer. They can also link their existing current account and they can use that current account to pay salaries, vendor bill payment, utility bill payment, like what we have seen with Google Pay for our savings account. Similar kind of a convenience is being provided on their current account. And what it leads to is, it leads to an automated ledger statement like this, which is a complete narration statement and gives them the convenience to not to track or use any bookkeeping software or accounting software. It is automatically done by us. So auto reconciliation of all incoming and outgoing transaction is the convenience they drive home. We acquire these customers by three methods. First is we do a lot of influencer and community marketing. We get in touch with their association, like for example, newspaper association of say Pune or cable operator association of West Bengal. We try to get in touch with them, explain our value proposition, get the interview done of the head and get them on board. And we also do a lot of vernacular content which is relevant to these guys and drive traffic to our website, which leads to our conversion. We also have a unique growth hacking techniques, like we create these kind of a micro payment website which can be created through application itself, and these can become an instant payment collection kind of a agent for them, and they can actually use this for sharing their profile, digitalizing their product catalogs. We make money by transaction. We take 1% flat on every transaction which is being paid through Spidergy link. And we also take 1,000 rupees per year for micro payment websites. The story so far is we've onboarded close to 15,000 of such businesses, around 17 states and 50 cities in India. We're generating more than 7 lakh monthly recurring invoices. And out of those, close to 8,000 businesses are active and generating more than 10 invoices a month. We've integrated, as of now, we've integrated with 3 banks, ICICI Bank, Yes Bank, and DBS. We've raised close to $800,000 from angels and family funds like Rahul Kirloskar. We have a team of 34, out of which 11 are tech, and we are operating in close to 15 segments of these micro businesses. We wanted to target close to 100,000 businesses on board by March 21, and we will, in process, we will generate close to 1 crore invoices a month, and out of that, we hope that close to 40% of the invoices will get paid through SpiderG link. Apart from JioGenNext Accelerator, we've also been judged by Microsoft as top 3 startup in the state. We've been also winner of Maharashtra Innovation Award, and we also won the Singapore FinTech Festival of 2019. So I'm the founder CEO, and I handle business development, finance, and hiring. I'm from NIT Labad, AM Manila, ex-Cognizant. I worked for software industries for quite some time. Then I founded a company called Mom's Kitchen, sold that, and worked for a private equity firm called Indiaco Ventures. And I had a 2-year stint with Goldman Sachs and Indian School of Business, 10K Women Entrepreneurship Program. Harshal handles all the tech, and he had semiconductor design patents in semiconductor space. And that's how we got connected, and he's the best tech guy I know, so we founded this company together. Our ask is we're raising close to 3 million in pre-series A round, and this money would be utilized in product enhancement, complete our entire neobanking piece, and we would utilize this money to build the inbound marketing engine for us, so that the content development in various vernacular languages, which can attract a lot of customers, sales funnel, and support infrastructure. We will also use this money for growth hacks. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Ashwani. We just heard from Ashwani of SpiderG. Ashwani, there's a couple of questions for you. The first, I guess the more obvious one would be, how do you differentiate from some of the other players already in the market, like Khata Book, for instance?
Yeah, Khata Book is actually a credit logging application, and it is being designed for one-to-one transaction. It is not being designed for one-to-many. Like, for example, we target recurring invoicing use case, and Khata Book, like for example, if you are going to a Kirana store or buying something for Kirana store and you wanted to do that transaction in credit, the Kirana store owner can record that transaction. So ours is designed mostly for collection point of view. That is designed for a credit logging application point of view.
Thanks. The other question we can take is, what's the average cost per invoice for your subscriber, like the average price range?
Like it's 90% is more than less than 2,000, close to 70% is less than 700, and its average range is around 345.
Great. Thanks, Ashwani. We just heard from Ashwani of SpiderG. Up next, we have another interesting startup. We are, by the way, about a little more than halfway through our program. We have 2 more startups and some interesting, inspiring messages to end the program with. But our next startup is AirChain. AirChain is an end-to-end e-procurement platform for large enterprises. It helps them run their e-auctions and gain a significant cost advantage. Taking the stage next is Harsha Kadimisetti. Harsha is the co-founder and CEO of AirChain. Harsha, over to you.
Hi. Good morning, everyone. This is Harsha from AirChain. We are an e-procurement solution helping enterprises save money while automating the entire procurement value chain operations, right? The problem what we are trying to solve is the manual inefficiencies across the value chain, where it is heavily dependent on a personal, the intelligence as well as all the data, which leads to lost savings for the enterprises, lack of visibility and transparency in the entire value chain, right? So we are trying to address this problem in a unique way. So this is our solution. We have a comprehensive solution starting from sourcing all the way till payments, which acts as a layer on top of their existing ERPs for the enterprises, and we help automate the process. And let me explain our solution better with the use cases what we have implemented so far. Right. To start with the sourcing module, the current scenario wherein there are hundreds of requisitions, thousands of suppliers, and lakhs of products for each enterprises which they are processing on a daily basis. Now, how is it currently done? It is being done over mails, Excel sheets, phone calls, and unlimited negotiations, right? And we are talking about disparities wherein 80% of the suppliers and the transactions leads to only 20% of the spend. Now, while we cannot dedicate the manual resources here, how do we automate it intelligently using the data? That is where AirChain comes into picture, wherein we collaborate all the stakeholders on a single platform, automate the recurring process of negotiations, data intelligence, identifying the right suppliers using the data, and finally help you automate the process and save money. This is the live data, what you're seeing here, how enterprises have been able to save within months, the first month of onboarding with us, and the current turnaround time, what they take around 1 or 2 weeks to close a complex commercial discussion is handled in a day or two, while bringing in the visibility to both the suppliers as well as the customers. This is another use case where we enable a vendor portal for all of the enterprise procurement and bring the vendors onto the platform. So currently, each of the enterprises are talking about thousands of suppliers and hundreds of thousands of invoices, which are predominantly processed manually by taking the data from emails, PDFs, coding it, verifying it manually, and answering unlimited number of queries from all the vendors on where is the payment, where is the invoice, so and so forth. We capture the digital invoices directly from the vendors. Either they can submit it onto the platform, or we directly extract the information from PDF and match it against the ERP values and post it or reject it in real time. While we do that, we also have a chatbot option to the vendors where they can chat on the platform or on WhatsApp, and get all the queries answered in real time by the process of natural language, right? So we make the entire query management easier. We give the complete visibility to the vendors and no to and forth information, right? So these are the KPIs what we were able to achieve, wherein the current cost of an invoice for an average enterprise, global enterprise, is around $7 to $10, and we bring it down to almost $2 to $3. That's direct saving into the bottom line. There are many more use cases which we are trying to solve for different enterprises in the procurement value chain, with contract management, with project procurement, and the capital procurement modules. The bottom line is we add to the efficiencies of the enterprise procurement value chain. We help them save hard cash money using our sourcing modules, and all of the cost avoidance which is occurring because of repetitive activities, non-compliance, so on and so forth. We help them save this. While doing all of this, we give 100% visibility to the management and the suppliers and the internal stakeholders, where there is 100% stakeholder satisfaction. Now, there are other platforms. There are current ERPs. Now, how do we differentiate ourselves is how do we use a lot of data which is being generated on a daily basis, automate this intelligently, whether it is negotiation, whether it is vendor ratings, identifying the right suppliers. It is all based on data where we learn. Our system learns on a daily basis and updates all of our customers. And it is as simple, like we are trying to take the complex task of the procurements to make it as simple as chatting on WhatsApp, browsing online for your online shopping, and making it very user friendly. We have got this constant response from both the suppliers as well as the customers, where this is one of the most user friendly and the easiest platforms they've ever worked on, making B2B enterprise SaaS tools as simple as any other B2C app we see here. And with us, enterprises get started in weeks and maximum 1 or 2 months, as opposed to years of implementation cycles where we are seeing with any other enterprise source to pay solution. And we are a 100% configurable SaaS based solution. We help enterprises do their business the way they want by getting started immediately. We have been in the market for less than a year. June 2019 is where we have started. And in the last 1 year, we have been fortunate to work with some of the global brands and been able to add value significantly, right? And while the times are tough, this is an opportunity for us where we see how do we make our enterprises lean? How do we make their enterprises procurement automated as much as possible and make it less dependent on people, where everyone can focus on strategy, so on and so forth. So we are confident about, we are having multiple advanced stage discussions with all of the enterprises, and we are confident about adding more in the coming months. So within India, we have seen there are around 1 lakh plus enterprises and indirectly catering to 50 million supplier MSMEs by adding value to their overall business. And globally, we see that the opportunity is around $40 billion in the spend management space. And we are confident about our positioning, and we will be able to scale this up globally. Our revenue model is simple. We are a SaaS-based subscription, and for big enterprises, we do charge implementation charges for the first month, and we charge it based on the modules they use, based on the ROI we are giving to them, and many other factors. So our average ACVs, I mean, our starting ACVs would be somewhere around 12 to 18 lakhs, and we were fortunate to close enough deals all the way till 80, 90 lakhs per year. So all of the success which we have seen in the last 1 year has been a single man show in terms of sales. We haven't spent any marketing dollars. We haven't had any connections. It was via cold reach outs and direct pitching of our product. People saw our product, loved our product, and we believe if we invest rightly in our sales and marketing with the right enterprise team, we will be able to add on to the approximately 60 70 customers in the next 2 years and add to our revenues, not only within India as well as outside India. And this is where we plan to invest to make such a complex process of procurement across different industries as simple as chatting on WhatsApp, the way most of the procurement professionals do in able to collaborate. To make it so simple, to make it database, to make it completely intelligent, we plan to invest in technology, and we plan to invest to reach, position ourselves, brand ourselves as the perfect enterprise procurement solution. We plan to spend in the sales and marketing and the branding as well. So we are planning to raise around 1.5 million to scale our sales and product in the next 2 years. This is a brief introduction about us. Myself and Himavant, we are the co-founders. We are batchmates from BITS Pilani 2012, and we have been fortunate to work with some of the leading companies in our respective spaces to gain expertise on business operations as well as technology. And in the last 1 year, we have been a part of JioGenNext as well as Innovation Brewery Accelerators. With JioGenNext, we have had an opportunity to work with multiple business mentors as well as ex-alumni founders who were able to help us visualize our business in multiple angles and made us better over the 6 weeks of our incubation there. And with Innovation Brewery, we are trying to deploy our product globally in across 10 countries at scale in the most agile way possible. And we were fortunate to raise a seed round of funding from a prominent angel investor in the market. And we are looking to partner with the right investors who could help us achieve our dreams faster, sooner. Thank you everyone for the opportunity. Look forward to collaborating with you all.
Thanks, Harsha. We just heard from Harsha of AirChain. Harsha, there's a couple of questions for you. First one is, I guess, another obvious one, which is how do you compete with some of the biggies already in the field, like SAP, Ariba, and so on?
So we have seen almost every e-procurement solution, and it is the love from the customers and the suppliers who have told us we have never seen a solution like yours in the market. We have not seen adoption like yours in the market. And we come in with a set of differentiators overall to be able to differentiate ourselves, and we have been able to replace so far. But nonetheless, the technology adoption and procurement in India is less than 2%, and we have a long, huge market, and it's not a market where winner takes it all in enterprise SaaS. We differentiate ourselves, we position ourselves differently, and we keep on adding customers.
Okay, good. The second question is how do you plan to go to market overseas? What are some strategies and plans and channels you have to go overseas?
So currently we are exploring with few of our partners where we know they have industrial connect in multiple other places, and we also plan to go digital. That seems to be working for most other SaaS players in a similar industry within our expertise. And yeah, we plan to capture the Southeast Asia and the US markets as early as possible. Today we are just trying to be ready in terms of a product to go there.
Okay, got it. Thanks, Harsha. We just heard from Harsha of AirChain. AirChain is an end-to-end e-procurement platform for large enterprises to run their e-auctions. Up next, we have our final startup pitch of the day. We have Utsav Mathur from Gmetry. Gmetry is a cloud-based authoring tool for enterprises to create, publish, and analyze usage of VR web applications, virtual reality. So, Utsav Mathur, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Madan. Thanks so much for that. Hi, everyone. We're Gmetry, and we're the Squarespace of virtual reality. What we do, I mean, if you were to look back in the year 2000, you wanted to make a website. The only way to kind of do that is to hire a developer. But today, anyone can use Squarespace, WordPress, Shopify to be able to create really robust solutions by themselves. In fact, today, 36% of the internet is on WordPress. We have the same problem pretty much with virtual reality applications today in 2020. You need a developer. And there are a lot of platforms which are very developer focused, like Unity, Unreal, which really put all of the expertise in the hands of which need the expertise in the hands of the developers. Geometry makes it easy for anyone to create, publish, and track virtual reality web applications, and we reduce this content creation time to under 10%. We give you the simplest toolkit, which anybody here can use, no coding required, to be able to build these really powerful applications. Once you've done creating it, you can publish it, and you can run it everywhere. So it even works on a mobile phone, a laptop, or a desktop, and of course also works on a VR headset, so you're future-proof. We've got a lot of integration, so you'd be able to build really robust solutions on this. Once you're done doing that, we also give you out-of-the-box analytics that are really strong, with which you can track individual users over their journey and then try to make sense of how your experiences are performing. With this, we've seen early adopters across the spectrum. For example, Bosch, Myntra, Reliance, Accenture, Diageo, Amazon, Abbott Pharmaceuticals, Amway, and so on. What we kind of do, this is a sneak peek into how we kind of work. We have a lot of clients who I kind of come in as a hot lead. We convert with a 40% within 2 months to a paid customer, to a paid POC. That converts at 75% to either the professional or the enterprise tier. If I were to give you an overview of some of our top clients, of course, we've also seen renewals because this is something that integrates very deeply into our clients. So for training, Accenture uses us. We run the world's largest virtual reality stores on Big Basket. We're doing a lot of work with Reliance, more on that later. So while Geometry can address a lot of use cases, we focus on training, learning and development, and retail. If you were to see what we do in training, I can actually put you inside for soft skills, right? I can put you inside a virtual room with a virtual customer in front of you, and the customer would walk up to you asking, hey, I have this query, how do you solve it? And if you give the wrong answer, we have voice recognition, so you can speak as well. The customer would get angry, and then that part of the storyline would play. But if you give the right answer, you would be able to actually resolve this and move forward. We train, for example, today the medical representatives of Abbott Pharmaceuticals on how to interact with uninterested doctors when they're going to pitch their products, among other companies and use cases, of course. We also do technical skills. So I can put you inside the manufacturing unit directly in front of all of your equipments. And even before you join and company start spending on your training, you would have a view into how, so that you can be prepared when you go on day zero. This really reduces the amount of time you want. We even train the Indian Navy, a lot of people to kind of, be able to go onto the ships and familiarize with them. With that environment. And I mean, this is something that's extremely relevant, especially in the post-COVID era, because we can also cut down your training costs by up to 60%. So if you were to see how our training solution comes in, we actually take retention rates up to very high engagement rates of 8 times and 60% less training time. So 40 to 45% with regular conventional training videos is the retention rate. We take it up to 95%. And today we train 500,000 plus people across the globe. Many of you would have also shopped on our virtual stores on Big Basket. We've got a lot of interesting stores with Reliance coming up as soon as well. But we take conversions up to 5x. And again, because we show you so much more, you would be able to, compared to a traditional e-commerce store, engage at 8 times. And our experiences have seen over 1 million views. So the virtual reality market is one of the fastest growing globally, and projected to really grow in the coming years, of course, and even now. And within this space, Geometry is a freemium SaaS subscription. So Sahil and I started this back in 2017. And so Sahil comes from a very rich finance background, Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, IIM Calcutta, decided that coding was his passion. It was very close to his heart. So he, gave that up, went to the world of startups. And, Geometry is his second startup. I come from a background I'm an architect turned technologist with patents in my domain. And basically, after that, I also had access to pre-developer versions of what are commercially available headsets today. We've been a part of the JioGenNext Accelerator program, and that really helped us win a lot of clients and use cases inside of Reliance. We're training, for example, the Reliance Fresh store staff. We're also launching a lot of virtual shoppable stores. If you were to see, and then we went on to the Facebook India Innovation Accelerator, and we came out at the top of their program. We were even featured in last year's F8, which is their annual developer conference. We were also recently invested in by Z Nation Lab. Today, Geometry is ready for adoption at scale. and we're looking to go wider, go deeper, and go global with a $2 million fundraise. So we want to go wider because we already have a lot of existing channels to be able to acquire clients. Until now, everything is organic. So we want to really see which one of these channels scales up. We want to go deeper. A lot of our clients are MNCs with multiple use cases inside, which can be explored. We want to hire subject matter experts, and we want to go global. Geometry today is a US headquartered, US registered company, and we want to explore all of these other alternatives right now. Thanks so much for Geometry and with the Squarespace of virtual reality.
Thanks so much, Utsav. We just heard from Utsav of Geometry. Utsav, there's a couple of questions for you. The first one, obviously, is who's your competition, or who do you see as potential counterparts to you in this space?
I mean, if you were to kind of go in, what technically happens is you've got a lot of customers in the VR, a lot of companies in the VR space doing a lot of services. So a lot of those companies out there actually use our platform, which is an underlying technology. And while we also have a very deep focus into the areas that we choose to focus on, for example, if you were to talk about training, we also would be able to integrate directly into your LMS. So basically, if you were to kind of see who the competitors are, we've got a few early stage companies globally, but globally, I mean, the XR space is really going large. You would be, you've got Insta VR, and we've got like advantages over all of these people, which is something that was stamped on by Facebook, which owns Oculus. So there's a lot of services competition. In terms of a platform competition, that is something that can serve a lot of use cases, fairly limited.
Okay, the second question that you have is how do you integrate with this whole world of Industry 4.0, automation, IoT, etc.? What is your hook into all of this?
I mean, so while training or learning is definitely one of the most important things, we also can create these virtual environments for people to kind of enter, for people to be able to explore all of the, all of the way the entire system works, to get an entire systemic approach. Because we've got API integrations, for example, you've got a data center somewhere remotely, somebody would be able to virtually visit that data center, see real-time statistics of how that particular server is performing. It's integrated, right? Like everything is speaking with each other, with the virtual world as well. We've got many use cases, and it would take some time to detail it, but even in things as simple as feedback loops, where people who are on the ground log into the virtual device and say, this is the problem that I faced on this, so that communication is clearer. These are some of the use cases that we have.
Thanks so much, Utsav. Thank you very much. Thanks also to all the other startup founders who pitched for us just now. You've just heard from 5 very interesting pitches, and it's great to see the wide range of innovation they have, what kinds of challenges they are addressing, and how even in these hard times, there's a lot of offerings that they can give to the market. So coming from these very detailed insights from the streets, let's go to a bit of a higher vision, a higher view of what's happening in our times. Obviously, one big question all of us have now is, what is this whole implication of COVID-19? How are we going to come out of coronavirus? What does this mean for society, for the economy, for talent, for startups, and so on? So to give us a very good visionary address, we now have a video message from Dr. Mashelkar, who is the board member of RIL and chairman of the Reliance Innovation Council. The Reliance Innovation Council is a very high-powered global advisory group. It includes Nobel laureates and science entrepreneurs who have built billion-dollar enterprises. So let's hear now from Dr. Mashelkar on how to take a different approach, a different interpretation of this pandemic.
Dr. Mashelkar, thank you so much for doing the interview today. So to begin with, sir, what do you think has been one of the most positive stories that has emerged amongst this crisis?
Well, I would not say just one. I have 5 in mind. Very briefly, I will explain to them. There are a number of lessons that humanity has learned. Mm-hmm. I think the first is if there is a unity of purpose, then you have a solidarity. You can see the whole world is battling it together by, the analogy is just like magnetic needles, for example. They are spread here and there, but then you bring a magnet and they got all aligned. The whole world has been aligned because of this big purpose of saving the bird, first the lives and then of course the livelihoods. The second, I think it has given us a time to pause, time to reflect, be with our family, have quality time. I think that it has made a big difference for many of us. I mean, including myself. We have been always on the run, For the first time, I have got a kind of time with my family, which I never had. The Third one, I think we talk about social distancing, which requires a discipline, but that's physical distancing. I think we have got closer together thanks to the digital medium through social media, so as to say, and people are, uh, uh, you know, networking of their minds, their hearts has happened through this great medium, despite the so-called social distance. The fourth one, according to me, is the pace of change. Uh, Things would have happened 10 years later are beginning to happen now. Like, for example, digital learning. We say, yeah, it is coming, work from home and the rest of it. But suddenly we have seen the power of doing that. And we say, yes, we can indeed. So there is a big acceleration. So that's the fourth. And the fifth one, most important, suddenly we find the air that was dirty has become clean. The rivers, those were dirty, they have become clean. Like Yamuna is a sort of a clean river today. And therefore, there is a realization, a magical realization, that we should not just be talking about recovery. Recovery is going back to the past. We don't want to go back to the dirty rivers and dirty water. We have to reinvent ourselves so that what we see sort of remains. So I would say these are the five big plus positives out of this very unfortunate pandemic.
Great. So the second thing is, you've been working very closely with different companies. JioGenNext itself is working so closely with startups. You've got first-hand experience with all these entrepreneurs. So what's that one key piece of advice you would like to share with all these startups, with all these entrepreneurs?
Yes, I would. Again, my mantras are always five mantras, Mashalka mantras. So I will quickly give those five mantras. I think the first is, in every adversity, there is an opportunity. Now, COVID was a big adversity. It has affected economies, it has affected health, it has affected the poor the most. But at the same time, it has opened up new opportunities. For example, COVID implies social distancing. And that means, can you start looking at distancing technologies in a broader sense? For example, physical contact has to be minimized. So drone based services, for example, telemedicine, edutech is going to just accelerate now. So I think these are new opportunities that have actually come up. The second advice I like to give, so seize those opportunities. And as I said, uh, as I always say, don't just keep on knocking on doors of opportunities. Create your own doors if they don't open. So you have to create these new doors. The second is, I always believe in these three P's, the purpose, perseverance, and passion. And that is required more now. And perseverance, most critical. It is always too early to give up. I always say quitters are never winners, winners are never quitters. So I think we'll be tested, and those are second. The third is the interpretation of the word fail itself. FAIL, fail, to me, is first attempt in learning. And your last mistake is your best teacher. So I think that is what I would like to enforce. Fourth, I always like to insist, I'm just 77, and I have discovered in my life that, like instant coffee, there is no instant success. I worked in my life 24 into 7, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. So no substitute to hard work, excepting, I would say, work hard in silence and let the success make all the noise. And the fifth one, I will say, is that particularly since you mentioned about Jio, etc., just look at one of the greatest events that has happened during the times of COVID, which is the partnership between Jio and Facebook. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. In these times when liquidity, conserving cash is critical, a company like Facebook says, I'm going to invest. And that also sends a strong message for for India as a destination. But then you will say, what about the startups? Look, what is going to happen because of this partnership is that the customers that you are dealing with are going to be digitally empowered, as you can quite clearly see the way things are moving. And therefore, your own empowered customers brings you sort of more opportunities for growth. So I would say these are the 5 things that I would like to really highlight in terms of my own advice to our young startups.
That's great. Very, very enriching. So one last question. Like you just said, these are, testing times is always, brings out the best out of anybody. So what gives you hope and optimism during this time, and what future do you see?
Yeah. I have the reputation of being a dangerous optimist. Lots of people call me dangerous optimist. I have always been like that, but I'm optimistic because of 2 reasons. One is a big one that I see at a global level, and second is at local level that I see in India. At a global level, what I have seen is I always said, that there's no limit to human achievement, no limit to human imagination, excepting the limit that you put on yourself. And we have seen that. You're seeing, for example, there's a challenge on vaccine, new drugs, and so on. And look at the way the fastest development of a vaccine and fastest run to do clinical trials has already actually taken place. The second is, for the first time, when we talk about World War II, there were certain countries that were affected, basically, not the whole world. In this case, whole world, 200 plus countries. So for the first time, we are all fighting with a common enemy. So there has to be a cooperation. But at the same time, there is a competition because people are realizing the issues of the fragile supply chains and so on and so forth. So this delicate balance of cooperation versus competition is something I think that will sort of take us forward. So I think we'll be more robust and more competitive and future growth. So that is at a global level. At a local level for India, I always say, you are my hopes. Young startups are my hopes. I'm a great believer in young people because, they say innovator is one who does not know it cannot be done. You guys are ones, oldies like me think that it can't be done, but for you, everything is possible. Making impossible possible is your KRA. So that is my biggest hope, as a matter of fact. And I have seen that. Actually, the way, I chair this Marico Innovation Foundation. They have created this 2.5 crore prize. So I'm currently the chairman. And I've seen the applications pouring in and young startups coming out with such fantastic sort of ideas. So I think India has this great demographic dividend with young minds, the Yuva Shakti that I see. That gives me this hope. So at a global level and at a local level.
A very inspiring message. 2 key takeaways from me are a crisis poses a challenge as well as an opportunity. So while definitely there's a big bad impact from the crisis, there's also new avenues opening up for startups. So the COVID crisis is making us pause and rethink our hectic roles in life and also look at our relationship with the environment in a new perspective. I like also the other quote of his, startups are the best hope. And I want to thank once again all the 5 startups who made their fantastic pitches to us and all the other startups in the audience. I believe we had more than 1,100 participants in this online session at peak. Big thanks, of course, go to all the teams behind your colleagues at Your Story, the JioGenNext team, the Demo Day team, the JioGenNext alumni startups, mentors, investors, and all of the Reliance executives who supported us in making this a successful milestone. Thanks also go to Ravi Gururaj, founder of QuickPod and chief mentor for these startups. Special thanks also to the top management of the Reliance team who have supported JioGenNext in their amazing journey so far. And I think you will agree with me that we've had a fantastic round of pitches, 5 amazing startups. These normally used to be a closed door pitch, but this is now the new normal. And we on the outside are getting to see all these pitches online through the internet for the first time. That was the 5 startups for the JioGenNext Demo Day of May 2020. Now, in addition to all of this, there's much more hope for startups who are now looking to come into the next batch. JioGenNext is continuing to work its commitment to support more startups in this field. And those of you who want to apply for JioGenNext Basecamp Batch 12, the next batch applications will close on May 7th, 2020. So you have less than a week to file your applications and get admitted. In case you're wondering who can apply, well, if you're a B2B startup with a lot of ambition, the Startup Accelerator program is open for you, especially in the following sectors: e-commerce, agriculture, education, healthcare, fintech, media and entertainment, social and messaging, telecom. All of the companies in this sector can benefit from the JioGenNext Accelerator program. In particular, if you are in the following technologies, you must definitely apply. They include AI, ML, blockchain, AR, VR, consumer and industrial IoT, data analytics, drones, UX, SaaS, 3D printing, India Stack, mobile apps, automation tools, SD, NFV, and smart materials. Thank you all very much. We've come to the end of an amazing 1 hour program. Thanks once again to the JioGenNext team and all my lovely colleagues at Your Story. Have a fantastic, successful weekend ahead and a great year.